Yeah. So okay. So for flight mechanics, this is going to be our, I think, sixth class, sixth or seventh class. Can someone remind me? Seventh class. Okay. So this is going to be our seventh class. So in seventh class, our first topic is types of airspeed. So in the types of speed, first question comes, how will you measure your types of speed? If you want to measure your types of speed, then you must have some device. So already we have discussed that any device if you are making, it will suffer from 4 types of errors. Now suppose you have fixed all the errors, and now your device is giving the correct reading, and you have installed the device in the aircraft at the right position. Now when the aircraft will fly, the devices will give you reading. Now devices are giving you reading, according to that you have to judge types of speed. Means when you are getting the reading for the very first time with all types of error in this also, with all types of effects in this also. Okay, so in that our first type of speed, technical speed, which we have to learn, actually see, in case of in pilot courses we have several types of speed, but for like our technical syllabus, this reduced, this size reduced. Okay, so first type we are going to understand IAS. IAS means indicated airspeed. What is indicated airspeed? See, suppose there is something called air speed indicator reading, ASIR. Air speed indicator reading. It means what? There will be an indicator. That indicator will give you reading of air speed. That indicator will be having different types of errors. Out of all those errors, if you are fixing, it means if you are clearing, if you are fixing only one type of error, that is what type of error? Can someone guess? Can someone guess about indicated airspeed? Okay, so now see, in the device, when the device will give you reading, so in the reading you will be having several types of errors. So if you are fixing 2 types of errors, it means instrument error and position error, then you are going to get, sorry, if you are fixing this for instrument error, only for instrument error, then you are going to get indicated airspeed. I will come again. See, now you have aircraft, and in aircraft you have the device. Now this device will give you reading, so that reading you will say airspeed indicator reading, ASIR. Now in this reading you will be having several types of error. For example, instrument error, position error, compressibility error, these types of errors. But if you will, okay, you got the reading. Now after getting the reading, you have to correct this reading. So you have types of errors. So in that you fix the reading only for one error. Means the first error, instrument error. So if ASIR you will fix for the instrument error, then new data will become IAS. IAS means indicated airspeed. Done. Okay. Now next we have calibrated airspeed. Already I have sent you the PDF. So next we have calibrated airspeed. What is calibrated airspeed? In short, we say calibrated airspeed, CAS. Okay, you got indicated airspeed. Now this indicated airspeed you have to fix for position error also. Like already it is fixed. I mean your airspeed indicator reading had all the errors. You fixed this for instrument error. Now you fixed for one more error, that is position error. Then you will be getting a new data, that is calibrated airspeed. Then you have equivalent airspeed, the third one. So let's understand what is equivalent airspeed. It is very easy. Just in summary itself we can do. equivalent airspeed. What is equivalent airspeed? When your CAS, I mean calibrated airspeed, you will fix with another type of error that is coming because of compressibility. So if CAS you will correct for compressibility error, then the new data will come, that is known as EAS, equivalent airspeed. I will summarize again. First time, with all the errors, what you are going to get? Airspeed indicator reading. From this reading, you remove the first error, that is instrument error. Then you will be getting a new data, that will be your indicated airspeed. Now from this indicated airspeed, okay, so now see guys, you have reading. In this reading you have all types of error. You remove instrumental error, then you will be getting indicated airspeed. Once you got the indicated airspeed, then you remove another type of error, that is position error. Then you will be getting calibrated airspeed, means this one. Again, in calibrated airspeed you have error. Which error you have? Compressibility error. So you remove that error also, means you remove compressibility error. Then you are going to get another type of speed, that is equivalent airspeed. That's all. And if you have to bother about true airspeed, then you are remaining with the last type of error. That error is coming, can someone guess? Which error? Very good. The last one is altitude error. If you will correct equivalent error for altitude error, then you will be getting true airspeed. Okay, now all these problems happens when your flight is happening at certain altitude, because there only you have all these issues. Try to understand, if your flight is flying exactly at mean sea level, that time your instrument is also made for mean sea level, and whatever air density you have considered in the lab, same air density for mean sea level, everything is same. So in that case you can say your calibrated airspeed, equivalent airspeed and true airspeed all are going to be same, because you don't have problem with the density, you don't have problem with the altitude, so no compressibility, no altitude. And if you are keeping your position also correct, then this will also be same to them, because it's all about the reading, correct? So how are we getting the reading? If the airplane is flying at certain altitude, then it will be giving a reading. Why this reading is not correct? This reading is not correct because of all these things. So as a manufacturing company or as an engineer, you have to correct all these data. So everything is actually corrected. Whatever pilot is reading, pilot reads everything as a corrected data. Okay, it's not like pilot is reading the raw data and then pilot is taking pen and copy and subtracting all these errors, and then pilot is saying, okay, my speed is this much. It is all, everything is done in the cockpit. Okay, so these are the lists. Now, very important concept, you should have the physical feel of true airspeed and equivalent airspeed. These two are very important. So now I am going to give you relation between true airspeed and equivalent airspeed with the help of physical feel. So our next topic is going to be true airspeed and equivalent airspeed. Okay, now understand. Suppose you are making an aeroplane at mean sea level, and this aeroplane is flying at mean sea level in this direction. So it will be having a particular density, a particular velocity. So this velocity I am giving symbol VE. There is some purpose, that's why I am writing VE. Rho naught is free stream velocity, and rho naught is free stream density at mean sea level. And then this is what you are expecting, but in real life this is not happening. Aeroplane will fly somewhere else. So suppose aeroplane is flying at certain altitude. So at this altitude aeroplane is flying. So this speed I am saying as V at certain altitude H. And at this altitude, whatever speed is there, that is your true speed. In real life you are flying at that. So this VH you can also write as VT. So these two symbols I am giving, either VH or VT. Now understand, if you are flying at particular height, then your density will not match with mean sea level density. So I am putting rho H. So concept of equivalent speed is, suppose aeroplane is flying at 8 km altitude. Means aeroplane will be having its own speed. With respect to ground, you can clearly see how fast aeroplane is going. So that is the original speed of the aeroplane. So that is the true speed, or you can see that is the real speed at the particular height. So it means true airspeed. Okay, now see why I am saying true airspeed, because with the same speed the air will enter into the aeroplane. Now question comes, what about equivalent airspeed? So we will think, when aeroplane is flying at a particular height, then how much dynamic pressure aeroplane is experiencing. So dynamic pressure is half rho at height into V true square. So this much dynamic pressure is experienced by the aeroplane. Okay, now this is the idea about true airspeed done. Question is, what is equivalent airspeed? So to achieve same dynamic pressure but at mean sea level, what will be the equivalent speed of the aeroplane when flying at mean sea level? To achieve same pressure, dynamic pressure, it means this speed is nothing but with respect to this speed according to this dynamic pressure. How much dynamic pressure? According to this dynamic pressure, it should face the same dynamic pressure here. So what should be the speed? So here you find out dynamic pressure, that is half rho naught V equivalent square, and here you find out dynamic pressure, half rho H V true square. Both the values will have half common, and you can find out your equivalent speed is equal to, just now you got the data, Vt rho H by rho naught. So you got the value of V equivalent. I will again repeat what is the meaning of this. Sometimes this rho naught by rho H, this rho naught by rho H, they write in terms of sigma. I will change the page. We are getting V equivalent square is equal to V true square into rho height divided by rho naught. How are we getting this? By equating dynamic pressure. So this ratio also sometimes they give directly. And ratio, how do they give ratio? Because at the mean sea level your density is something, but at the particular height your density is something. So whatever density is here with respect to this, that density is relative density. So relative density, they call this as relative density. That is nothing but rho h by rho naught. So they can give you direct rho h by rho naught value. So when they are giving relative density, that time they will not give you unit, because unit will get cancelled. So they will give you some decimal numbers. Okay, so I hope equivalent speed is clear. Now see, equivalent speed is not happening in real life. In real life, what is happening? True airspeed. This is your earth surface. This is your flight. So this flight will go in this direction. So it will be having certain speed. That speed is the true speed of the flight. Okay. But equivalent speed is not that speed. Equivalent speed means when the flight will be happening, it will be bearing some dynamic pressure. That dynamic pressure is half rho at the height and true speed square. To achieve the same dynamic pressure, how fast the same flight will go in this direction at mean sea level to achieve same dynamic pressure. So at mean sea level, density is rho naught. Density is more at sea level. So of course your velocity should be less. Always remember, V equivalent will be less than V altitude. I mean true. Okay, altitude and true, I'm considering same. Because because already density is more, so V equivalent will definitely come less. By this formula you can see this guy is more, so this guy has to be less. That's all done. Okay, now we will move ahead in the chapter. This I am writing V equivalent is less than V true. This total is your sigma. This total is your sigma. Relative density symbol. So they may give in terms of relative density directly, they may give the ratio, or they may give you two different densities. How will you guess the ratio is given? If the ratio is given, unit will not be given. Okay. Now see, no need to arrange any equation like this. Directly you understand what is happening. You are directly equating the dynamic pressure and you are writing this term. After that you can arrange the equation in any way. Okay, now we'll go ahead with the chapter. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions I have. Those questions I will give you in PDF. So you solve those questions tonight or the day after tomorrow. I mean tomorrow. So I can start high lift devices as a new topic. But before that, I should give you some ideas about compressible flow. That is, actually compressible flow is not the part of this syllabus, but because some questions may include the idea of compressible flow. Okay, so you should understand how to find out Mach number. So Mach number, oh yes Vedant, for that also I will give you. Mach number is nothing but your local velocity divided by the sound speed. Okay, sound speed formula under root gamma RT. Propulsion students are master in this. This Mach number formula is important, and your total temperature, if you divide by static temperature, then it is 1 plus gamma minus 1 by 2 Mach number square. This we study in gas dynamics under compressible flow. So by using these two equations, we have to solve some numericals. So those numericals I will give you in the PDF. Now see, you have another formula. If you have total temperature with static temperature and this is being changed adiabatically, then total pressure by static pressure you can equate by gamma minus 1 by gamma, and total density by static density gamma minus 1. So total these three equations are new for you. And of course Reynolds number equation you may be knowing. Reynolds number is equal to rho v d. D is the diameter by mu. So we can solve the numerical. Because whenever flight is happening, it will be happening at certain altitude. So Mach number and compressibility will come there. So that's why these formulas you should know. Now we are going to understand high lift devices. So in that, especially we are going to discuss different types of flaps. Based on flaps, if they will ask tricky question, you will be fail. So that's why all the types of flaps we have to discuss in detail. Take new topic as just a minute. Just a minute, guys. Actually, my camera is shaking. Just a minute. Okay, now it will work. So we are starting now high lift devices. So this is your fresh chapter. Swaranjit, do you have doubt in this? That's all. We have only this page. You mean this? R is Reynolds number. Actually, this Reynolds number is the topic of fluid mechanics. So I will cover this in detail when I will be taking this D is diameter. When I will be taking aerodynamics, that time I will take this from the basic. Currently you just take down because it will help you for the numerical. Okay. Now, so take your first heading as high lift devices. So what is high lift device? Whoever is producing lift, especially high lift, very heavy lift. Now see, whatever components we are adding in the aircraft, this is your wing. Wing is very special in that. Everything is special, but when you talk about lift, main role of the wing is to produce lift. So if you take care the wing properly, so if I am drawing wing here, then you'll be having some cross sections in the wing. Some portions will be movable. So you'll be having some kind of cut here. So the portion which is movable near to the tip, this side, that is aileron. And just next to that we have flap. So flap we consider as high lift device. And main role of wing is to produce lift, nothing else. So we are going to understand what are the types of flaps and what are the advantages and disadvantages and CL alpha curve for different flaps. So first we understand how flap works. So under high lift device, you take a very important heading, types of flap. In that, you take first type of flap, what is attached on trailing edge. So for that you write trailing edge flaps. And there are several types of trailing edge flaps. In that you have first category, that is known as plain flap. And then you have split flap. And then you have slotted flap. then you have Fowler flap. Fowler, F-O-W, then L-E-R. Fowler. It's not flower, it's Fowler. Then Zap, Z-A-P. After trailing edge flap, you have leading edge flaps. So in leading edge, you have flap. So in that, your second category is leading edge slot. Leading edge slot. Then you have third category, then leading edge flap. Okay. So these are the important categories under flap. One by one, we have to understand them. You also have some ways where we can control the behavior of boundary layer. Okay. So to control the behavior of boundary layer, we have some methods. So just for 2 minutes, I will explain something about the energy of the liquid. After that, I will continue this topic. So just hold for a minute. I will change the page. See guys, whenever there is flow happening over airfoil, then energy of the flowing molecules decreases. And after some time, because of the lack of energy, these molecules will leave the surface. And because these molecules are leaving the surface, so after that, whatever portion is remaining, that portion will not help you to produce the lift. And your job is to think the idea how to increase the speed of these particles. So you have two ways. See, there is a concept in ethics. If you have one straight line and you want to draw, that concept was like this. If you want to draw, if you want to be bigger than this line, then draw the bigger line. And there are another type of people, they will destroy the line. It's like I am trying to compare people in the world. So like one is already growing, another one is like feeling jealous. So this guy will try to kill this person, or another way is don't kill, grow more, like this. So with this kind of concept, we have this concept. The molecule which is losing energy, you have two ways. Either increase the energy of the molecule or suck the molecule inside the wing itself. It means make a hole here, and when the molecule is tired, suck the molecule inside the molecule, so that the previous molecule can complete the journey. So this way is known as boundary layer suction. Or another approach is increase the energy of the molecule. How can we do that? From here, blow the air, extra air, so that this molecule will go further. So the second process, what you are doing, you are imparting extra energy and momentum to the molecule. So this is known as boundary layer blowing. So you are blowing the boundary layer. And there is one more way, that is called jet flap. So one by one I have to explain. And now see, in the previous page, these are the types of flaps. And you have one more category, fourth category. In this category, we are going to combine some flaps to create special types. Combination. Yeah, I will explain again boundary layer suction and blowing. No problem, I'll explain again. So I will change the page. I have to explain this. See, what is boundary layer suction? When there is airfoil, then molecules are going on the airfoil. They will lose their energy because of friction and shear stress. So because they will lose the energy, so they will leave the surface. They will not complete the path. And if they will not complete the path, then by this much path you cannot develop the lift. So either you suck these particles inside by some mechanism, by using some compressor, or you blow extra air so that this molecule will get more energy. So when you are sucking inside, that time you will say boundary layer suction, and when you are blowing the air, that time you will say boundary layer blowing. So that time what you are doing, we are injecting some extra energy and momentum. That's all. So this is suction and blowing. It is not a big deal. It is very simple phenomena. Either suck the molecules, whoever is weak, or supply them extra energy. So theoretically something else is happening, but practically something else we approach. I mean, theoretically some other way is easier, but practically we don't choose that other way. We choose another one. I will explain that part properly. First we have to complete the flap. So I hope you have taken the chart. Then one by one we will understand. So I am going to approach trailing edge flaps. So see, in trailing edge flaps, so where the flap is attached, it starts from root, not from the tip. From the tip, who starts? Aileron. Okay, so see, you will be having a complete wing like this. In this you will be having some kind of cut here. So this body is separate body, and this body is separate body, and they have some hinge connection. So the red part, this part, we call them as flap. The entire part we call them as airfoil, or you can say wing. Only this much part is flap. Now see, when the flap will go down, I mean, if the flap itself you study, then flap itself looks like this. Then I am saying deflect the flap like this. Let's give name. Suppose this is A and this is B. So this is A and this is B. So this is A and this is B. Okay, in the flap itself, this portion is known as nose, and this portion is known as tail. So you can see, you are deflecting the flap like this. Earlier it was like this. So what is happening? I will draw this diagram here. I'm showing the deflection with the blue color. So what happened? Earlier, this was your chord line. And if you consider this as a symmetrical airfoil, then camber line and chord line, they are the same line. But in the second case, you see what is happening. Your chord line will start from here, but it has to go to the tail. Okay, and now your camber line will go like this. Right? So what you have done by deflecting the flap? Actually, by deflecting the flap, you have changed the camber of the airfoil. And I have given you the basic idea about the camber in the beginning classes. When camber line is above the chord line, then it is known as positively cambered airfoil. And when the camber line is lower than the chord line, then it is known as negatively cambered airfoil. Okay, so flap is rotating with respect to the hinge point. So when I will teach you stability, there we have to discuss hinge moment also, like how much hinge moment is there. So actually, whenever we are changing the flap, mainly what are we doing? We are playing with the camber. We are changing the camber, we are changing the shape of airfoil. Because of that, finally what is happening? Your CL is changing. Already we know CL alpha curve. So what is alpha here? So for that, earlier what was happening? Air was coming from this direction. So approximately here you can see angle of attack is 0. But now air, if you maintain the same air, then you can see this is your chord line. So angle of attack increased. So by deflecting the flap, actually what you are doing, you are shifting the chord line location. Location I'm saying. Because of that, you are getting angle of attack. Because of that, you are getting different CL. Okay. This was the geometrical issue. Now let's understand what is happening physically. I will change the page. See, whenever, now I am explaining physically. Here I explained geometrically. So whenever you have a normal airfoil and here you have flap, consider this as a wing, 2D wing. So you will be having your pressure distribution like this, symmetrical pressure distribution. So you will not be having any lift because both side you have suction, no lift. But if you deflect the flap, let's deflect the flap. With respect to this point, I am deflecting the flap. Then your chord line became like this and your camber line became like this. And in aerodynamics, you will understand, because of camber line we get circulation, and because of that we have all the lift procedures. Currently that I am not including here. Again, the same question, diagram and reference I will take in aerodynamics also. Right now what is happening? Right now I will explain the phenomena according to this pressure variation. So earlier pressure variation was like this, but now it will change. Now this kind of pressure variation will come. Now it is no more symmetrical. So because of that you get different lift. So there are two ways to discuss this. One way is we are changing flap. Sorry, I took something. Just a minute. I think I have done something. Just a minute. How to come out of this? Yeah. So see, I was saying that when you are changing your angle of attack, then two ways you can discuss. One way is you are changing your chord line and camber. Because of that you are getting different CL. Or another way is when you are and you are getting lift, and of course you are getting angle of attack also. And another way is when you are changing the flap, then actually you are changing the pressure distribution. So when you are discussing pressure distribution, then of course your CP will change, and because of that your aerodynamic force will change and lift and drag will change. So you can see two different approaches. In one approach you are changing your alpha, and that alpha is changing your chord line and camber and blah blah things. Because of that you are getting CL, and because of that you are getting lift. This is one way to explain about lift. Another way is you are changing your alpha, because of that your CP is changing, because of that you are getting different amount of aerodynamic force, because of that you are getting different lift and drag. And when I will be teaching you aerodynamics, that time I will be teaching you because of circulation all these things are happening. Okay guys, what I am trying to say, it is not difficult. I am saying there are three ways to explain the lift variation. One because of the CL, one because of the pressure distribution, and one because of the circulation. Circulation part I am not touching now. Guys, tick here if you are understanding what I am trying to say. Okay, almost people are understanding. Okay, very good. So, and tick here if you are not understanding. Okay, very good. Other students are feeling lazy, or they are not listening my point. They are not ticking here when I am saying if you are understanding, you tick here. It's okay. Now see. We are going to discuss the variation of CL alpha curve properly. We have CL alpha curve. If you are drawing this for, I will draw exactly in the mid. If you are drawing for plane flap and symmetrical flap, it will go like this. So here this time you will say your flap was neutral. And if you are using your flap, that time you are changing your camber. So after changing in camber, your flap is no more symmetrical flap. It is positively cambered flap. So for that also you have already an idea. For positively cambered, it will go like this, right? And then again, so here you are using plain flap used, means we have used. One more diagram we have to draw, but we can draw the diagram after the understanding the idea of split flap. What is split flap? So let's understand what is split flap. So yes, CL versus alpha graph. This is your cambered airfoil, and I am going to cut only this much portion. See the beauty of engineers, what they are doing. And we will deflect only this much portion. It means the flap will look like this. After it is in work, look like this. Like this kind of flap. So you see, upper surface is not being disturbed, and from the bottom surface also we are getting help. It means in this flap, lift increases very fast and we get more extra CL max value. It means it goes like this. So it starts from here, right here is split flap. Now every flap is having advantage and disadvantage. They are like a history. They are not technical. Okay, so that history I will send you. You can read that. History is very big, like all the advantages and disadvantages. So that will be comfortable, right? If I'll send the history, because they are simple point. Like what kind of point they have. For example, if I talk about plain flap. So in plain flap, you have some advantages. What is the main advantage? The camber effect will come so much. The increase in effective camber will increase lift. It will also increase drag. Because of that, your L by D ratio will decrease. L by D ratio is nothing but your efficiency, that is known as aerodynamic efficiency. And whenever you are losing your L by D ratio, means whenever you are losing your efficiency, that time actually what happens, you get steeper glide. What is steeper glide? Steeper glide is a phenomena. If you have aeroplane, and if aeroplane will suddenly start gliding like this at so much angle of attack, like this, like kind of falling situation. So that's why we don't use this kind of flap in heavy aircrafts. So these kind of advantages and disadvantages are there. So you can read them and you'll be getting enough idea. And if you'll be getting any doubt in that, any disadvantage, advantage, we will discuss. Okay, separately we will discuss. So okay, plain flap over and split flap over. Then we have to discuss what is slotted flap. So see, here I am showing you a normal flap. I will cut flap here. Now my next is slotted. And then this portion. Then there will be slot. After the slot, we'll be having our flap. Actually, in the beginning, your flap will look like this. But when it will operate, first this flap will detach in the air and then it will rotate. Normal flap will look like this, but when it will come under function, it will behave like this. First it will make some slot, and then it will detach from the main body till this much distance, and after that it will operate like this. No, I will give you the complete like after explaining all these small flaps, again I will give you the complete CL alpha curve for all the flaps in one diagram. I have one chat here. This curve is same for cambered and uncambered. No. See, whenever any flap is like this, it is actually cambered. But sorry, not cambered, symmetrical. But when the flap is into the action for any kind of airfoil, it is no more symmetrical. So you say cambered, after that you say symmetrical. You don't say uncambered. Either cambered or symmetrical. So here what happens, in slotted flap we get extra advantage. What is the extra advantage? Can someone guess extra advantage here? Okay, actually it is not, it is so early to ask. See, whatever air goes like this, yes, air goes like this. Air goes like this, then it goes like this. So this air behaves like blowing, and it will help the incoming molecules to jump this side. Because of that, we don't lose lift. It means we get extra CL in this case, and of course we get extra lift. Okay. My question was, my incoming question is, why do we give, I have missed give here, why do we give importance to surface area, that is plane form area? So actually everything about flaps is, running only for this question. Everything is running around this question. Why do we give importance to surface area? So almost everyone joined. See, my question, this is not my question. This is one logic. With the help of this logic only, you have to judge which flap is better, which flap is giving you more CL, which flap is giving you CL max. Okay. So we have to know the main idea. See guys, when we talk about wing, then flow goes like this. How much area? I'm talking about the area is wet. It's not WATE, wet. I'm talking about the wet, WET. How much area is wet in the fluid because of fluid? Now that much area is helpful to discuss lift and drag, because only that much area is giving you pressure distribution and aerodynamic force, right? So only the wetted area is helpful. So if you are designing as a design engineer, if you are designing any type of flap, and if that flap, in any case, if the flap is continuously wet with the air, then it is very, very good design. Means, let's have idea of this flap and this flap. You can see here, when here the air is going, Air cannot touch this portion. But, and why are we bending this part here? We are bending this part here to achieve alpha more alpha. Okay. But when we are trying to increase the alpha, same time we are reducing the wet area. So that this problem is not here. In this issue, we are increasing drag. Why we are increasing drag? Yes, we are increasing drag, right? Because some lift we are not getting. That is another disadvantage. And one more disadvantage, we are getting extra drag because this air will go somewhere else. So here you'll be getting wake region. Wake region means air is not smooth here. So this wake region means you'll be getting pressure. There is something called, I have taught you already, there is something called adverse pressure gradient. So because of that effect, adverse pressure gradient, this part will disturb your lift and drag. Okay, but in case of split flap, whatever flow was going, we are not disturbing the upper part flow. At the same time, you keep in mind, maximum lift is produced by upper part only. So, but if you are not decreasing the upper part, how can you increase alpha? By this method. So split flap is helping you to maintain the maximum wet area also. At the same time, it is helping you to increase alpha also. So both the phenomena are helping you to generate lift. So that's why if you compare a normal flap and split flap, it goes like this. In case of a split flap, your slope is also strong. I mean more slope. This angle and this angle. This angle is more split. And CL max is also more. Question is, what is CL max? What is CL max? CL max is the value of CL. After that, aircraft will stall. Correct? But only one disadvantage. I mean, there are a lot of disadvantages also. One disadvantage of this flap is, whatever information you know, based on that, you can guess that disadvantage. Can anyone try to guess the disadvantage? Anyone try? No, steep gliding is disadvantage of this guy. I am talking the disadvantage of split flap. Which we? No. Maybe you are trying to say something else, but I'm not getting exactly what you are trying to say. Something else you try. There is very good disadvantage. Yes, it will stall early. Why it will stall early? Because this guy is keep on giving you the angle of attack. So in the upper part, so what will happen? Whatever you want, you just deflect, no problem. But alpha will be so much high. Because of that, this wing will come into stall early. You know this stall, right? So actually, if you compare with the normal, in normal flap, you will stall at this alpha, but in split flap, you will stall early. But of course, this alpha is, I mean, at this alpha, you'll be getting more CL. Okay, now let's talk about slotted flap. Slotted flap is at another level. Okay, I will explain what is slotted flap. So in case of slotted flap, this portion comes out here, and from here it starts operating. From here it goes like this, So you are increasing this much surface area even though you are backside. I mean, the flap is in use, but still this much surface area increased. And best part is, from this way air will go. Because of that, whoever is tired, I mean the tired molecules, they will get energy supply and they will boost up this side. So again, you are increasing the wet surface area. So again, this guy is more special than split flap, because in split flap, your surface area was constant, but here you are increasing surface area. So if you are comparing split flap and slotted flap, then slotted flap you have to write up, and again slotted flap will stall early. Slotted flap will definitely produce more drag because there is something called lift induced drag, CDI. This is a big value actually. More lift, more drag, no doubt in that. Now let's understand. I hope you understood slotted. Then we have another type of slotted, that is multi-slotted flap. It's like some Hollywood movie. You'll be having one part, then you'll be having, first it will come out, it will make a slotted flap here, and then again another portion will come out, and then again another portion will come out, like this. So here also it will help, here also it will help, here also it will help. And you know, this guy can also bend, this guy can also bend, this guy can also bend. So, but only thing is, training of this kind of aircraft in which this kind of flap is installed is tough, because single pilot has to manage. I am going in different way. I should not go in that way. Now see guys, this is called multi-slotted flap. In case of multi-slotted flap, your separation is definitely almost totally eliminated, because flow cannot separate. If you are tired here, okay, I am giving energy here, reach here. If you are still tired, I am giving again energy. If you are still tired, I am giving again energy. So this is the idea of slotted flap. Then we go for Fowler flap. So Fowler flap, Fowler, Fowler flap. Actually what happens in Fowler flap, in case of slotted flap you have slot here, but in Fowler flap this portion goes very far away and it creates very large gap. That gap you cannot say as slot, enough gap, that is kind of very enough gap. If you will sit near to heavy aircraft, I mean near to the window of the heavy aircrafts, or sometimes you can see on YouTube, these flaps are actually coming out and then deflecting. Some videos are there on YouTube. So Fowler flap, again same thing, because the flap is shifting here, the wet area is increasing. I am talking about the wet area, at the same time you understand what I am talking. We actually calculate the lift and drag part. Okay, in the lift part also you have area, in the drag part also you have area. That's why area is important. What, Vedant? Can you speak? Fowler flap. Yes. Actually diagram, my diagram is not the exact diagram. My diagram is for idea purpose. It's like you have the fixed wing and fixed portion. In that portion you have the flap portion attached, but that flap portion will not operate from that location. First it will shift enough, and from that portion it will start the operation. So again handling Fowler flap is another deal, because in case of Fowler flap you need multiple controls first, and all the controls will be installed in the cockpit, and pilot should get all the trainings for this. So that's why. Okay, now we go for a comparison of different flaps with the CL alpha curve and CD alpha curve. So they have not asked any type of question based on the flap till now, because but any year they can drop the question. So this is your CL, this is your alpha, and first you draw like this, and this you say as bare wing. Bare wing means we are not using any flap there, and then you have to use plane flap. So in plane flap slope will not change, only CL will be more. Like here you can see CL, here you can see CL. So name is flap, plane flap. And then you have a split flap. Only split flap will cut the plain flap. So you can see here you have a split flap, and after that you have slotted flap. So you will it will come from this side. It will go with extra CL. It is slotted, and then you have the last one, faller. I'm using yellow color. So in case of faller, it will go like this. Again you have extra CL, so you write the name faller. So here we are not operating, here we are operating plain, split, slotted, faller. And in same way they will produce drags also. More lift means more drag. And if you talk about efficiency, then of course your again in same way they have efficiency also. So you can also write eta decreases, means efficiency is decreasing. It means CL by CD is decreasing. Now we talk about zap flap. So I have a chat here, double slotted and 3 slotted flap. Actually, maximum multiple slotted we can go here. That will go between faller and slotted. Now you go for another type of flap, that is zap. In zap flap, that was next type, right? E. It is nothing but the combination of split and faller. Means first it will be here, okay, in the beginning it will be here, but it will split from this location. First it will faller from this location, then it will split. So split and fall like this. Like this. This is your zap flap. Okay. So these are things about the flaps. Then I have advantage and disadvantage. No need to discuss in class because that is easy. So I will just give you like a history you can read. Now I'll give you what is leading edge slot. Leading edge slot. Now see guys, one thing you keep in mind, slope will increase if your area is increasing. Otherwise slope will not increase. Like you can see here, slope is not increasing, but here slope is increasing. Extra slope, slope is increasing. Because area is increasing, right? But plain flap, bare flap, area is not increasing. That's why slope is not increasing. Only CL is increasing. CL max. So think about leading edge slot. Let me draw another type. Leading edge slot. So how do we draw? We first make a flap, I mean wing, and we draw a flap on the front. So when this flap will operate, according to this operation, this hole, I mean the slot, gap, this area will change. Because of that, the incoming air through the slot will change. Because of that, energy of the molecules will change. In this entire phenomena, you are not changing the surface area of the wing. That's why if you talk about a bare flap, suppose I am drawing this as bare flap, and then if I am drawing this flap which is leading edge slot, I mean with the concept of slot, so in that case your slope will be same and you will not stall at the same angle, you will stall after certain angle, but your CL will increase. You can see this increment. So you will stall somewhere here. All the graphs and all the theory I will give you. but you have to read that. Okay. Now, according to pilot point of view, this flap is actually not good because it decreases the range of the vision. Because if pilot want to see left side, but if the pilot is operating this slot, then in how much zone this flap is acting, that much zone will not be visible to the pilot. Now see how separation bubble is coming into picture and how separation bubble is disturbing us. So I am giving you issue with separation bubble. This is actually complete theory. In this theory, no need to write anything. I will give you the PDF for the written. You can take note here. Just one paragraph. You can leave one page. That is not here. That I will take later. Okay. Now see. First, I will explain now about the idea of separation bubble. What is separation bubble? See, when you have flap, I mean wing, then here on the leading edge till certain distance you get a bubble. This bubble you call as separation bubble. Why are we calling them as separation bubble? Because first thing, it is happening on the leading edge, so here suddenly thickness will be more. Because of that, air will jump like this and it will stall early. It is a kind of trouble for us. So when you are trying to solve this separation bubble issue, you can make camber very less. Very less camber means you have this kind of airfoil and you have this kind of airfoil. Suppose here you have chord line and here you have camber line. Here you have chord line, here you have camber line. You see, here camber is more, here camber is less. Both are airfoils. In this case, separation is extra. In this case, separation will be there but very less. Separation, like when the air will separate, you will feel like a bubble. Actually, there is not any bubble. Actually, bubbles you see in the water. What is bubble? Lack of water. In the water bottle or anywhere, whenever you see bubble, actually what is bubble? Bubble means in that zone you don't have water. In same way, here we are talking. In this much zone, perfectly you will not be having air. So there are ways to prevent them. So now I'm going to teach you leading edge flap. Don't be confused with leading edge slot. Leading edge flap. So leading edge flaps are attached at leading edge. If you have the wing here, then on the leading edge itself, cut here this portion. Like in trailing edge we are cutting here and we are deflecting this. So in leading edge you deflect this portion. So whenever you are using leading edge flap, you try to think the changes. What are the changes happening? You are increasing the camber first of all, because when it will go down, your camber will start from here. So camber will increase. So your CL max will increase. That will come soon. Actually, there is a difference between a cruiser flap, that is known as cruiser flap, what you are asking. Just wait. So in case of leading edge flap, your graph will go, if this is the normal, then this will be your leading edge flap. Like your angle of attack will increase at which you will stall as compared to this. You are getting extra lift. But what are the causes? Causes are when you are going for the downward deflection, you are performing the same thing at high incidence. I mean, your angle of attack is actually increasing. Because of that, sorry, your angle of attack is actually decreasing, but you are getting same effect. It means what? If you want to stall, you need more angle of attack. That is very helpful. And you are increasing the camber also. So because you are increasing the camber, because of that you will be getting lift also. Here, this part actually I will explain when I'll be teaching you thin airfoil theory in aerodynamics. There you will be, see what is the point here, how camber is helping you to produce lift. This portion only, right now you only consider as okay, camber helps, but the complete idea I will give you in aerodynamics. That comes under thin airfoil theory. There we replace the entire airfoil into the camber and we discuss everything. Now we go for our next type of flap, that is again attached on the front, that is known as KRUGER, cruiser flap. What is cruiser flap? You will be having a flap, and if you match with the split flap, in the split flap this portion was splitting down. Cruiser flap is similar, but for the front you cut like this, and after the cutting you deflect. How? You will deflect like this in the front direction. So that's all. It is very similar to leading edge flap, but whenever you are designing, you can cut here, you can cut here. So manufacturing thing is different. Even after this you have several types of flap, but our work is to deal with the basic designs. Any doubt, anyone? Okay. Now we will discuss boundary layer blowing. Actually boundary layer blowing is very easy. You have some flap. Yes, Poonam? Take it. Okay, now see. Now see, I am taking boundary layer blowing, BLB. This is very simple. Actually what happens? You make some small holes on the upper surface, and there will be power plant, I mean your engine. In the engine you have compressor. So compressor compresses the gas. So some amount of gas you bring through a pipe till the wing, and in that wing you open those pipes. So those pipes are giving you very high compressed air, very high compressed air. So that air is helping you, I mean not you, is helping the incoming air to reach till the last end. So this is how boundary layer blowing works. Actually in this method very high speed air is blown, and this slits will be very narrow, like very narrow. If the flight is happening, if you want to check, you may not be able to check. So here what is happening, whatever boundary layer you have, that boundary layer is being energized again. You can say re-energize. So blowing is energizing the boundary layer. Okay. So now we have suction, and in suction you have just opposite way. Just opposite way means if the molecules are flowing over the airfoil and the molecules are being tired, then you will make small holes, and through those holes you will suck them inside in the wing. So this is the famous idea about suction. So that's all. Whenever we have to discuss high lift devices, in this we have to discuss all types of flaps and their CL alpha curves. There is extra flap that is known as jet flap. Jet flap. I will change the page. Jet flap. J-E-T last, jet flap. What is jet flap? See, it looks like this. Here I am drawing any arrow, straight arrow, and here I am drawing any sharp arrow like this. So in jet flap, entire exhaust from the turbojet engine is ejected at high speed through the narrow slit along the trailing edge. Are you getting? Through the narrow, here will be a very, very small slit, and whatever jet, entire exhaust from the turbojet engine will be ejecting with very high speed through the narrow slit like this. So that's why it means in the flap itself we have hole in the flap itself, because wing is a 3D object, right? Inside the wing is like wing, in the wing it is hollow. So wing is hollow. What Vedant? Flap, track, fairings affect the phenomena of lift and drag. Lift and drag will be affected if and only if you will disturb the this surface flow. Whatever is happening after that, it will not affect you. After that, only the vertex flow will affect. So those things, any kind of launch will not affect your lift and drag, any kind of launch. Because once it will happen, it will be detached from the body. Now see, I hope you are getting what is jet flap. And see, whenever the jet is coming out from the flap, can you imagine the push? Very, very high push. And it will also help you to reduce the effort of the pilot, because already the flap is having tendency to rotate under the action of the jet. When jet will come, jet will give you the reaction force. With that itself, the flap can rotate. So pilot has to only give the direction. Like some people can feel this. If you have played cricket in your childhood, so if this is the bat, suppose here this is the bowler. If the bowler is throwing very slow ball, then the batsman have to hit the ball with very high speed, then only ball will reach to the boundary. But if the bowler itself is throwing the ball with very high speed, that time this batsman will just give the direction to the ball and ball will reach the boundary. So same thing happens with the jet flap. Already jet is going out with very high energy. So because of that reaction, flap is already capable to go in any direction. So pilot will give just little input and it will get the direction. And best part of the jet flap is it is the only flap in the entire flap history which can generate lift and thrust at a time. Because jet is going in this direction, so it gives thrust. Okay, so this is important point. So in the today's lecture, we have finished the entire idea about high lift devices. But see, whatever I have given you, these things are the fundamentals. Main thing what you have to study, what they will ask in GATE exam, advantage and disadvantage. CL alpha curve, anyone can do. If they are asking CL alpha curve for jet flap, Fowler flap, slotted flap, anyone can solve this. Can take the right option. You will fail where they will talk about advantage and disadvantage. So that is important. So I am giving you some pages after the class. It will take around 1 hour. I will take all the PDFs and I will send you. In that PDF, advantage and disadvantage, you have to copy to your notebook. Whatever notebook you are making, it is up to you. If you want to copy in your notebook, then you take the copy, or you can study directly from the PDF, no problem. Okay, so we'll stop class today. Thank you so much. You have been amazing audience. I have been amazing teacher. Good night everyone. Others can leave. Whoever have doubt, ask.